It's been a great pleasure to welcome you for this session on second career. 2 days ago I was in a session called Parallel Journeys, and I guess in a sense this is similar. Some of us were confused because we had more than 2 careers. But I think broadly what we're going to cover is writing and doing something else, and how these two sit together, if they do, the advantages and conflicts, if any, constraints, and so on. I'll start by introducing one after the other, and with each introduction I'll request the authors to read a small passage so that you get a sense of their writing as well. What's unique about this panel is that Nim is originally from Mumbai but based in Sydney. Janis is from Vancouver, and Hazel was from the UK but is writing based out of Paris. So these are different parts of the world. So I hope some of that flavor comes through in the writing. I am an author as well, and I'm happy to hear from 3 others today, having said my piece 2 days ago. We'll start with Nim. Like I said, Nim is from Mumbai and is based out of Sydney, and her debut novel, Unraveling Anjali, Diary of an Immigrant Bride, is first, she says, of a planned trilogy. The plan is still on, yeah, okay. She has a day job in pharmaceutical sales. She has 3 kids, a Rhodesian ridgeback, and is fascinated by the digital age. Is that all right? Mic is all yours.
Thank you, Sanjay, for the very kind introduction, and thank you so much everyone for attending. Like Sanjay mentioned, this is my debut novel, Unraveling Anjali, and it's about an immigrant bride. So an Indian girl who leaves India in the late 1990s, goes to Australia and starts a married life there after an arranged marriage. So I've just picked a very short excerpt from the book which actually highlights her interaction with a friend from the West who's not familiar with the whole concept of Indian arranged marriages, and just the little sort of interaction between them. So I'm just going to quickly read that to you. The coffee shop was noisy and crowded. Loud music belted out of an old-fashioned music system. We ordered our chai lattes and cakes. I settled for a blueberry muffin, and Daniela ordered a lemon cheesecake. As soon as our orders arrived, Daniela sipped her chai and then sat back, arms folded. "So, tell me all about yourself, Anjali," she said. She wanted to know about where Ravi and I first met. In spite of her solemn demeanor, Daniela was a romantic at heart. "Tell me everything. Start with how you both first fell in love with each other." I smiled. "We didn't." She was taken aback. "Didn't fall in love? What does that mean?" "I mean, we didn't fall in love when we first met. Ours is an arranged marriage." Daniela was curious. No one from her immediate circle of relatives and friends had ever had an arranged marriage. She knew these things existed, but wanted to know more. The concept confounded her. She couldn't get it into her head that a man and a woman would agree to tie the knot and spend a lifetime together when they knew nothing about each other. I explained that it was what we were conditioned to expect. "But did you have a choice in the whole matter? Could you, for example, have said no if you didn't like the boy?" Daniela had such a sweetly concerned look on her face that I was tempted to lean forward and give her a hug. I laughed. Yes, I did have a choice. She let out a huge sigh of relief, as though I had luckily escaped a miserable fate. "Thank goodness. And how long did you know each other before you got married?" 7 days. "What?" she screamed. "You're kidding me, right?" "Oh no, I'm serious." I was giggling, not sure why it was such a preposterous thing to consider. "You're crazy," said Daniela firmly. "What a terrible gamble. How do you guys in India figure out if the couple is compatible? Imagine being stuck with someone whom you're not attracted to. What happens if you have different goals?" I had never thought about arranged marriages in this light before.
That's nice. We move on to Janis. Janis is a singer-songwriter and she has a CD called Better This Way. Is it also available outside? It is. Okay, there you go. Yeah. And she's taught English in a Vancouver college. She's co-founded 2 periodicals. And currently she's an expressive arts therapist. Do you have a cure for addiction to buying art? Anyway, we'll come to that. Her first anthology of non-fiction was called Body Breakdown and it was published in 2007. And her recent anthology is Emails from India, Women Write Home, published in 2013, and which she calls her love letter to India.
Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you. So the CD titled Better This Way, I wrote the song when I was in Goa a few years ago in Palomar, and I debuted it in a beach bar restaurant in Palomar. And the refrain of the song in Better This Way is, I've been to India, I've been to Oregon, and I never thought I'd say that maybe it's better this way. So as Sanjay mentioned, this is an anthology. So it's a collection of writing from 27 writers, mainly from Canada, some from the US, some from the UK. And they're writing about their experiences traveling in India. There are 37 stories, so a few writers have more than one piece in it. I have 6 pieces. 5 of them are about traveling in India with my 16-year-old son, Adam. I took him here for 3 months in 2009. And one story is about traveling on my own. And I'd like to read to you just a couple of pages from that story. Its title is Shiva's Dance. When I'm traveling solo in a country like India, as I did last year, I become hyper-aware, which for me means that I can sometimes see through things to their quantum physics centers of nothing but energy. This can be disconcerting, but it is as close as one can get, I think, to the ultimate reality, the real stuff, without needing to be enlightened. Gone are the comfy, safe structures of home and established routine. Gone are familiar faces and neighborhoods. Gone is the known culture, the social dynamics that uphold the values and expectations and etiquette that you've subscribed to, in some degree or other, for most of your life. It really is just you in the big world. And when you travel alone, that's how it is on every level. It's all you. When I travel by myself, the world ceases to be a solid environment that I can make my way in. Rather, it becomes a malleable dreamscape, constantly shifting and vibrating, reflecting my thoughts and beliefs, whether I'm consciously aware of them at the time or not, and whatever else. The environment is as much in me as I am in it. Boundaries are elusive. Everything is possible. This perspective seems especially appropriate in India, whose ancient spiritual wisdom reveals the physical world and all of its objects, draws, and drama as Maya, illusion, a veil hiding the ultimate reality. True travelers, those who put themselves out there, alone, vulnerable, and open to it all, experience magical things on the road. Coincidences and small world events occur regularly, and the unexplainable becomes more commonplace. Here's one small example. An Israeli man I met in a Goan guest house over a discussion of his book about Jung's archetypes would appear whenever I drew out of my journal a piece of paper that he'd written his email address on. The first time this happened, I hadn't seen him for weeks, having been on the road myself and just returned to Goa. And I was wondering if Daniel was still around. I noticed his email address when I was writing in my journal on the beach and decided to head to an internet place to email him. I took a few steps down the beach, and there he was. The happened, I was in Hampi, Karnataka, a different state in South India, and had no idea Daniel would be going there too. I came across his name on that piece of paper while having breakfast in a rooftop restaurant, thought warmly of him, felt an opening in the air around me, walked down the stairs and out into the street, and there he was. He looked different this time, and I didn't recognize him at first. Shaved head with a little tail of hair, and dressed all in white, fully Hindu style. He approached me when I was talking with an Indian man, and just stood in front of us for a while, smiling broadly and waiting for me to recognize him. The last time I saw Daniel, my last day in India before my journey home, we were climbing down the rocky Hemakuta Hill in Hampi, from where we had just watched the sunset and drunk a small chai bought from a little girl. And I heard Daniel softly singing John Denver's song, "Take Me Home, Country Roads." The temple where we were headed cast a long, intricate shadow on our path. The air was warm and smoky, and I was already feeling nostalgic for India. Daniel's choice of song moved me, especially when I realized it was in my honor, and I joined in. That song took us all the way to the temple, where we breathed incense and performed pujas in the dark. When I returned home to Vancouver after 7 weeks in India, on my first unsettled day back, I was unpacking my journal, and Daniel's piece of paper fell out. Moments later, I opened a cupboard drawer, and facing me was a book with the title Country Roads, a collection of photos of the Canadian countryside that I'd recently acquired and forgotten I'd stashed in that drawer. Suddenly I was in India again, singing down a darkening hill.
Very evocative. Thank you. Hazel, as I mentioned, was born in the United Kingdom, and she lives and writes in Paris. She has been a lecturer and a business leader in the education sector. Her first novel was published in 2013, and it's called Kanya Kumari. And her second novel, Geranium Woman, is due out in 2015 and promises to be a psychological thriller. The search for authenticity seems to rule your life, from what I understand, and I think you hope the books help readers through some kind of an inner journey. All yours.
Thank you. Well, yes, my book, Kanya Kumari, as you can probably imagine from the title, is set in India. I wrote it over 3 separate trips to India. This is my fourth visit here. I'm fascinated by this country and can't seem to stay away. The story, Kanya Kumari, is about 3 women, 3 Western women, travelling through India, each alone. One of the characters is in the 1960s, and we learn about her journey through her letters home to her brother, her twin brother, Perel. The other 2 women have arrived together, but for certain reasons are now travelling alone. So what I hope the book does is a few things, really. It's very much a Western women's view of travelling in India, particularly alone. Some of the adventure, some of the concerns, some of the challenges, etc. But more than that, it's an exploration of feeling, firstly, perhaps alienated within a culture and a country that you don't fully understand, that you haven't experienced in such a way before, and also about how we find connection in a culture, in a country that can sometimes seem so very different. I'm very moved by the idea that what connects us as people, even though we may be very different people with different religions, different ways of life, different culture, society, etc., what connects us, I feel, is very much stronger and very much deeper than what divides us. And so what I hope with this novel is that as these 3 women travel alone through India, we travel with them, And so it's more than a physical journey, it's for them a psychological journey. Each of the three women arrive in a very different place psychologically than where they began. And that's what I hope that my readers will take from this as well. So the piece I've chosen to read today, it's a short piece, and it's one of the letters that one of my characters, Sandrine, is writing home to her brother in France. So this is the 10th of April, 1968. Dearest Perel, you told me once, on a journey somewhere, I can't remember where, that you are unfinished. I was happy that you spoke to me like that, but I wondered if you thought you would ever be finished. I want to ask you this now, Perel. Are you a masterpiece in the making, a sculpture lurking in the wood? I told you then that I thought you were messy, and that I was too. Perel, I don't know if I'm fooling myself here. Here in the yogi's house, I tell myself stories of peace and rest and of independence, authenticity and freedom from attachments. And yet so often I think of you. It has been so long since I received word from you. A single word from you would elate me. And so I am not free. I have learned this here. But I have not learned what you tried to teach me. I can see that I don't yet want to leave you, but I am beginning to see that I must. When I was travelling, every time I arrived at a place, another town, a city, I would check the post office. Sometimes there was a letter from you, more often there wasn't. And so I remained shackled, tethered to you. I feel my weakness. I know it. I look at it full in the face. I have no questions for it, no answers. I think that as long as I remain here with the yogi, you will begin to recede, to transform. Perhaps there will be a freedom in that, as he says. You are already becoming a muse, no longer a man. Perhaps I thought that I could write you away with my letters, perhaps write myself into the space that you occupy. I will mail this letter, and if after 2 months I don't hear from you, it will be my last. I have realized that you were right when you told me that I love you means I want something from you. My love for you seems to demand a response from you. You told me that if you could change anything in your life, you would change our parents. Would you be finished then, Perel? Would I? We both ran away in our own different ways. We are alike, but I know we can't run together. I know this, but sometimes in the past, being with you has made me believe that I am free. If I were truly free, I would rip your address from my memory, burn it, throw the ashes into the wind to be carried far away from me. Maybe, Perel, but not yet. Write to me, my love. Give me your words. I will not write you again until you do. I am not yet free.
We could start with you, Hazel, and the reason I wanted to start with you is that I understand that you have now given up your other career and you've taken to writing